Welcome back to another episode of Sound Powers Go to the Movies. This is another Throwback Thursday review, and today I'll be reviewing the movie Airport 1975. And just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. A 747 in flight collides with a small plane and is rendered pilotless. Somehow the control tower must get a pilot on board so the jet can land. So let's begin with my first pro. I will say, watching it presently, we are familiar with most of the cast members in this film, so I will just name some. We have Charlton Heston, Karen Black, George Kennedy, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., Linda Blair, C. Caesar, Jerry Stiller, Eric Estrada, Gloria Swanson as herself, and others. But if you have seen movies, you know Charlton Heston from Planet of the Apes, George Kennedy from the TV series Dallas, Naked Gun films, and he is the only one to reprise his role as Joe Petroni in all the Airport films. If you love Batman, the animated series, and Spider-Man like I do, then you know Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. He voiced Alfred in Batman and Doc Ock in Spider-Man. Then we have Linda Blair from The Exorcist, Jerry Stiller from Seinfeld, Eric Estrada from Chips, and others. This is like a time capsule with all these people in one film, so when you watch this, see if you can spot them. Next pro, to have a novel spin off 4 films that involves an airplane and have been profitable is amazing. But I never read the book, but I suspect that Joe Petroni is in the book, thus his character appears in all 4 films. But just look at what Hollywood did before. They take novels and write 4 scripts that were inspired by the novel. But now we have 20 or so years that go by and then we reboot the films. And I'm looking right at you, Halloween franchise. Just let it go and move on. I think Hollywood doesn't want to take risk on new scripts or new writers who might have new ideas and a fresh take on the film industry, sort of like the latest film, Speak No Evil. It's a Danish film. They came out 2 years ago and it's just a reskinned version for English audience. Next pro. This film is why I love the movie Airplane, because it's a comedic take on this film. I mean, if you watch this movie then watch Airplane, you will see all the references and similarities, and I bet you will laugh along and just be like, yeah, that's from that scene from the Airport 1975. I just feel like this is a must to show people both films back to back, Airport 1975, then Airplane, if they haven't seen them both. But if they've seen Airplane, then show them Airport 1975 so they can actually see where all the jokes came from. You can buy this separately, but it's hard to find. The easiest thing is to buy the collection Blu-ray that contains all 4 Airport films. Which brings me to the other point, that this movie was made after the first Airport, which is based off a novel. They made the film, and once it was successful, they greenlit 3 more films, with this being the film following the original. But this is the one that Airplane was based on and made all the jokes from. And now onto my cons. Just one con, I would say all the errors, so I would just put them in one con. They have so many, I'm just going to list some, and these are so easy to spot. They're clear and can be seen right off the bat. One was when the rescue pilot is being lowered onto the 747, the hole you see from the inside, from the outside view, is just black paint painted on the airplane to make it look like a hole from afar. Next, when the plane is flying, we notice that it changes from day and night back and forth. You notice this from the exterior shots as well as from the interior shots through the window. Next, before boarding, we see Gloria Swanson arrive at the airport and the nuns talking about her. And behind them is a guy with a brown jacket, and in between them is a girl in red sitting behind them in the background. And there are 2 women sitting to the left of them. But once the sister gets up, the man behind them is now wearing a blue shirt and reading a newspaper. And the girl that was sitting in the back is now a boy wearing a blue shirt. And also the 2 women that were on the left side are gone. Errors like these aren't bad unless they are centered in the frame, because you are noticing 2 people who are talking and your attention surrounds them and anything around them, and it basically stands out more. One other error that is not seen but heard is when the small plane is calling the tower and they tell the pilot he is second in line behind the 747. He then has a heart attack, and that causes him to turn the plane 180 and crash head on to the 747. So for this to make sense, he must have been in front of the 747 and not behind. Therefore, he must have been first in line to land and not second. So this doesn't make sense based on the instructions that we hear from the tower that were told to him. And trust me, there are many more errors that you can see, spot, or hear in the movie. And the reason is because back then, people were never bothered to watch the film more than a few times. Unlike now, with digital versions and physical copies, they are easily available. Next con, the whole thing about the TV station showing up with the wife of the dead pilot, I saw that as a waste. The only thing it showed was that the incident was newsworthy, and to show the character Joe Petroni being mad at the newscaster for trying to put this on TV and not let them do their work. But I felt that they could have used this to show the news reporter reporting fake news and try to sabotage them and instigate that the airline was not doing anything. And at the end, have Joe Petroni go up to the newscaster, take the mic, and tell him, here are 120 alive people you can interview, and that is all thanks to this crew who made it happen to get them down safely, unlike you who wanted to spread lies. Now go do your job and report on how we saved them all. Well, it's something around those lines. And throughout the film, we could have cut to some people at their homes watching and tuning in to hear these lies on TV. And at the end, when we see the truth, we can be like, yeah, take that, you a-hole. And if not, you can just take the TV station showing up and the whole story would not have changed. So my final grade for this movie is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. A bit high because it did have some action and some suspense, but mostly because the cast and also because this is a film that gave us Airplane. And that is just a hilarious movie in my book. So the story is simple here, but it still holds your attention. Some scenes are funny because you can see some errors, but if you just ignore that, I think you can kind of enjoy the film. At least you can see some cast members and put them in other movies that we have reviewed. And also, it relates back to the movie Airplane. So that does it for this review of Airport 1975. Please join us next time where we're going to review the number 23.
He met Fabrizio when he was 32, whereas I met you when I was
23.
And the day we met was
September 14th.
9/14. 14 plus 9 is
23.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.